I'm Meg Heffron from Heffron SMSF Solutions. We've been administering SMSFs for about 15 years, and for a lot of that time we were using different software. We moved some of our funds, but only a couple of hundred, to Class probably 4 or 5 years ago, and initially we intended to just divide our practice between the two. Then just a couple of years ago we decided we'd take a bigger step and move the vast majority of our funds across to Class. One of the things I was worried about at the time was we had a lot of staff who'd used the old system for a very long time. They were very proficient, and I was concerned that we'd have a sort of cultural resistance to making such a big move. One thing that really surprised me and was very gratifying was how excited the staff were about moving virtually entirely across to Class. They weren't particularly worried about leaving their old skills behind. They just felt that we were moving to a much better place. They were particularly enthusiastic about the fact that when we hired new people, they could get them up to speed really quickly on Class, and they could be doing real work that was useful in a day or so, compared to our old system where it had been a couple of weeks. That was obviously great for them and great for us. They could get through more funds more quickly. One of the things that people often talk about in relation to Class is the data feeds, because they're obviously fantastic and they were a real game changer when Class came along with that functionality working so well. Another point that people often forget to mention is that even on funds that don't data feed, the fact that Class is very intuitive and simple and quick to use means that even funds that don't data feed are actually much quicker. Our staff reckon that they spend less than 50% of the time processing a fund that doesn't data feed on Class relative to our previous system. Our practice has a lot of pension funds, and so we want the process for actuarial certificates to be really streamlined. That's brilliant with Class, and in fact even better for us is we do our own actuarial certificates and we're one of the suppliers on the Class menu. If you're an accountant or an administrator, what you really want for your actuarial certificates is to be able to press a button, send the data off to your actuary and get the response back in the shortest possible time with the least amount of effort at your end. And that's exactly what we can do with Class. One of the things that was really important to us was not just that the software worked and was right and was efficient, but also when new legislation changes or when something happens, that we'd have a fairly open line of communication to Class. We've always found it a really collaborative and constructive relationship. I think one of the great things about Class is they're not necessarily trying to develop every single application that an SMSF administrator might want. What they are trying to do is make their application as open as possible so that all of us who develop things that we need to talk to our fund administration data, we can effectively do that through Class.